Hey guys, so in this photography tips collection, we're talking about things from a lot of different angles. But what I wanted to cover with you today is stuff about iPhone photography and how I edit my iPhone pictures. I'm recording with the iPhone at the moment, so I'm going to show you on the iPad. So hopefully everything launches okay here, as I don't typically use it. So this one here, and I'll make sure that I include the links to all of these in the description down below, but my favorite go-to photo editing app for my iPhone is Pick Tap Go. And like I said, I'll link to that below, but I'll show you why I love it so much. So we're going to work on editing this picture, which is cute as is, right? But we can double tap on it, and we have the option to use all of these filters. And the cool thing about Pick Tap Go is that you can put filters on top of each other. You can determine how much of the filter you want to use. So typically I'll go in and I like to brighten things up a little bit. So this version might be a little too bright, but what I can do, let's stay here in filters. What I can do is this little button down at the bottom, I can adjust how bright or dark I want it. So I'm going to do kind of like mid brightness. And if you ever want to see the version before, you just hold the top corner and you can see what you did before. Or you can, if you have multiple filters on, you can hold the bottom corner and it'll show you the original. So we up the brightness a little bit. Another one I use a lot of the time is actually this one over here, Crispity. So we're going to do that one. And it just kind of makes everything a little more crisp, makes everything pop a little bit more. And you can see the difference, which is really helpful to kind of see, you know, it really brings Mateo into the foreground there and makes him pop a little bit more. And like I said, you can go down here and you can see the original and you can see the difference. So a lot of times the goal of my pictures, especially of my kids, is to make my kids really stand out. So here it's kind of the background gets faded a little bit and he really stands out. The other thing I'll do sometimes, especially if we're outside, there's one called Sugar Rush, which is sometimes fun to kind of, as you can tell, it pumps up the colors. So, you know, the neon green on his jacket, the green of the playground, you know, it's kind of preference. Sometimes there, like, it yellows the slides a little bit too. So, you know, sometimes it's hard to decide what you actually want there. But I'm actually gonna undo the Sugar Rush. So I kind of like what we have there. I think that gives you an idea. And like I said, you can, there's all sorts of different filters in here. You can do the black and white. You can get, you know, a little more artistic if you want to. The thing I don't use a lot of the time, there is an adjustments option where you can adjust the light, the contrast, the color, and the warmth. That's a newer feature and I haven't used that as much. I typically use these filters. And the other nice thing is you can go into My Style. So once you're using this for a while, you can either save recipes or it'll automatically just show you your history and your most used combination. So if you always do like half brightness and 3/4 crispity, you can save it as a recipe and that way it's just there for you. It's really easy to do that. Once you're ready with your picture, click go. So that was, you know, it's pick. So you pick your picture, then you tap to use the filters and then you go. So right here it gives you the option to save the recipe. You could share directly. Typically I just save it to my camera roll because I'm going to show you another app that I use a lot. And I'm not sure if there's anything here let's see if we can get it to work. So Retouch is a favorite for me. And like I said, I just downloaded these on the iPad. So we'll go to albums. Let me get this to, there we go. So yes, I wanted to access my photos. The one that we just did is right here. So the cool thing about this is the thing that I use the most is object removal. Especially, if I get a cute picture and there's like one random toy or something in the way, or, even just like some of this dirt here. We can zoom in if we want. Oh, there are holes in the slide actually. So all I have to do, I'm in the object removal, and I can actually, let's do that a little smaller. I touch it, move it around a little bit, and then we can do that, and it makes it disappear. So same thing, if I wanted to, like, yeah, slides are dirty, but just for, photo editing's sake, if you want to get rid of any of this, or like the scratches, you can get a cleaner picture. I think, let me see if I can show you a previous version of this. I'm trying to think if there's a way. I guess if you undo it, you could tell. So you could kind of see there what we did there. Sometimes, sometimes I've done it if there's somebody in the picture. Now this one, I don't know if it's gonna work because this poor little boy is behind the bars, but we can try it. So if we try to get rid of him a little bit, and you know what, that's actually not bad, because you're not gonna be able to tell up close. So let's try and see if we can get rid of this little guy. I've done this at the beach, which works really well. It tends to work better if there's a really clear, consistent background. So like there was one where it was my son in the ocean, and it was an awesome picture, and it was just him in the water except for one other person. And since it was just waves and water, it was really easy to just erase that person. This doesn't work quite as well. So if I'm doing this, you can see that it's kind of filling in the cracks there. But what you could do is do the clone stamp, and I'm gonna say I think, there we go. I want just like tree branches. And then what I can do is it's gonna grab whatever's in that first circle, and it's gonna mimic that down through here. So let's try to see if we can make that look more natural. And typically I would for this kind of thing, I would probably leave the kiddo in. This is a lot of effort, but sometimes it's a little bit of effort, and it's really goes a long way. So same thing here. We'll zoom in a little bit. I think you might be able to adjust. I think you might be able to adjust the size of these. I know you can definitely do that for the erase tool. You can make it smaller. Typically, I like to just zoom in. I lost my thing. I like to zoom in. You can even do it, beside it. So let's say I want like similar trees. And now with this, again, like if you're editing this much, it's gonna look a little wonky in the background. Although really that doesn't look too bad. You can kind of tell that the trees repeated there over and over, which looks a little odd. But for this purposes, I would maybe do something different, or like I said, just leave the kiddo there. But if you're just glancing at it, that doesn't really stand out to you. And, I have a picture here that looks like it's just my two sons. I can go ahead and I can save it. And then there's one other favorite app that I want to show you. So this one's called Over. And like I said, I'll link to all of these in the description below, so you can grab them from the App Store. I'm not sure which ones are available on Android. So, let me know. Feel free to comment and let me know what's there. Unfortunately, this, I don't know. Let's see if we can just do it at all without it. A lot of these I've been grandfathered into while they were free. I found them while they were free and new. So again, I'm not exactly sure what the pricing might be, but at least this gives you a good idea of what they entail, and then you can decide whether or not it's worthwhile for you. Here, let's see if I can, well, maybe I don't have to restore my purchases. Let's see if we can do anything from here. All right, let's start a project. So we're gonna start, yes, allow access to photos. We're gonna start with this one that we've been working on. And the fun thing about Over is kind of the text and the graphics that you're able to use. So it does look like maybe some of these have been here. So they offer these really cool packs. So stuff like this, where I can explore more, see the world. I don't know, maybe I'd have to, I might have to restore purchases to have these. But something like this, you know, maybe I would want to put, you know, fully alive down here. And the cool thing is, when I have like this graphic, I can change the color. I can change you saw me change the size, and you can spin it around. I can change the opacity of it, which is really nice. I could even, if I want to change the color, oops, not in that part. If I do this, I can actually pick up color from somewhere in the environment, which is kind of cool. So if I wanted to like kind of mimic maybe the playground colors, I can use that. So it kind of gets you some interesting colors that you can use. Let's see, we go in size. So that offers you a lot of options there. The other option is if you just want to put text of your own. Let's say we want to put, you know, like he's going down the slide. You know, we can do something like this, and we can, you can pick the font. There's a lot of fonts to choose from. So we could do, let's do something like this, and I'll show you why in a minute. Well, actually, I like the blackout a lot because it offers you this unique thing. So we could do something like this. And if it's too hard to see, we can go in and pick a graphic. I'm just gonna do a plain shape, and we're gonna put this up here. I'm gonna change the color to this playground green. There we go. And then you see it's covering the text right now, but this little layers button up here, I can just say, yeah, I want that underneath my we, and then I can adjust it. So I can adjust that there, and then I'm gonna make it a little bit green, and then to cover up those edges, I'm gonna add just plain white on either side. I kind of cheat it sometimes, so like if the text won't go all the way to the edge, we can just do this. And there's this nudge tool can be really helpful for this because it zooms in and it lets you just bump it up. I can go here, I can duplicate and move it to the other side, and then we can nudge it a little bit. There we go. So, you know, I might want to like get rid of this down here. I might want to just keep that. Like I said, if I would want to go in and change that font, I can. There's just a lot of options with it, which is really, really nice. So once I have something like that, and actually I wonder, well, yeah, but I mean, you get the idea. So if I wanted to change it, to something like that. It still has that green background, so it works pretty well. But you know, you kind of have, then you have more of a graphic. So a lot of the graphics that I use for Adore Them and the channel art for YouTube, excuse me, I create all of it with Over. It's really easy to use. I love that I can just use my finger to just kind of like tap, grab, switch around, play with it, and see how it goes. And then same thing, you know, I can save the image. You know, if I want to save a couple different versions, I can kind of do that. I could undo it and get rid of the top stuff instead if I want. But this allows me, I can show you the before and after here. So this is what we started with, which was a good picture to start, right? We had the kid, we had my boys, we had the dirty slide, and we were able to turn it into, you know, something like this, where there's not a little boy at the top, we have some text, we have a cleaner slide that's not distracting, and you know, that was a 15-minute process because I was stepping you guys through it. Typically, I'd be able to do that in just a couple minutes, and then it's ready. It's ready for Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, or wherever you want to share these pictures. It's good to go. So I hope that was helpful, and like I said, I will include the links to the App Store for Pick, Tap, Go, Touch, Retouch, and Over, and you guys can go grab those. If you have any questions for me, feel free to reach out, and I'll be happy to answer them. And also make sure you go to adorethem.com/photography-tips, and we have a whole collection this week talking about different photography tips, either when you're going to get family photos done, some tips for that, some tips to take your own pictures, and a whole collection from Carissa and I, and from a couple guest contributors as well. So you can check that out again, link in the description below, and we'll catch you guys next time. See ya.